When I was about 10 years old, my parents took me to a Dodger game. And this particular game I can remember because as I was ready for the wave, which was coming around the stadium and approaching my section, as I was waiting in eager anticipation, I happened to glance at an elderly couple who was sitting a couple rows in front, one aisle over. And as the wave approached their section, they got up and did their thing, and it became painfully obvious to us in the seats that something was not quite as obvious to the woman as she got up, because strapped pretty securely in place on her backside was a toilet seat cover. And while we kind of chuckled and pointed a little bit, the reality is nobody said anything. In fact, people kind of ignored it, hoping that it would maybe go away. In a lot of ways, couples tend to talk about their finances in the same fashion. They tend to want to ignore it, hope that it'll just go away, and usually it doesn't. We've all read studies about what married couples argue about most, or what are the stressors in a married couple's life. When it comes to money and finances, that topic usually hits the top 5 list. So, what are the keys to talking about finances if you're a couple? Let me offer 3, and it's really just 3 questions. What, how, and when? What? What are we going to talk about when we talk about our money? It's a great opportunity to begin to talk about what are your dreams together, what are your goals, what are your concerns? As you look back at last month's expenses and kind of get an idea of what you spent, looking forward and saying, okay, so what do we have coming down the pike that we need to be planning for? What? How? How will you talk about your finances? Well, I'm a firm believer that the environment from which you begin to talk about your money, it must be an environment that is open. It must allow for honest dialogue, but it must be safe. Avoid sarcastic comments. Avoid dwelling on past mistakes. You can't do anything about those. You can only focus on the here and now and going forward. And then finally, when? When do you talk about your finances? I believe more often than not. For example, I think weekly is a good benchmark. Setting aside a consistent time every week to talk through your finances. Now, admittedly, the topic of money and finances can be an uncomfortable topic, but I do believe it needs to be addressed. And you can choose to ignore it, stick your head in the sand, but from experience I can tell you it doesn't go away. But if you can set aside a consistent time every week, if you can create an environment that allows for honest, straightforward dialogue, and it's an environment that's safe, I guarantee you will be taking a first very important step toward navigating your financial future together.